The 2023 Formula 1 season got underway this weekend for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and the Max Verstappen takeover has officially begun. What's happening everyone, TomGorian here, and with the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix officially done, I think it's safe to say that Max Verstappen will be on his way to predictably winning a third Drivers' World Championship. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because if you look at practice 3's lap times compared to practice 1 and 2, they seem to be really close. Obviously, Alonso was literally first, followed by Verstappen closely in second, and then you had literally Perez, Hamilton, and Leclerc, and also Russell, separated by literally 3 tenths. So, heading into qualifying, you pretty much thought that, you know, it could have been literally any one of those 5 guys who could have got pole position, but in qualifying, it just seemed like Red Bull really started to flex their muscles as far as how quick their pace was. And I think the biggest shock was pretty much Fernando Alonso. And when I say shock, I don't mean the fact that he qualified literally 5th. I mean, if you look at literally Alonso's practice lap times throughout practice 1 to practice 3, he's literally in the top 3. Practice 1, he got 2nd. Practice 2, he literally topped practice 3 and practice 2. And in practice 2, he was literally ahead by Verstappen by less than 2 tenths. But looking back at practice and qualifying, it didn't seem like, you know, Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso had genuine pace to beat the Red Bulls, but it was more about how much pace was the Red Bulls really lacking. And now, if you look at literally the fast lap time in practice 3 compared to literally qualifying 3, then it's literally ridiculous. It's around about, 3 seconds? The fast lap time in practice 3 was literally a 1:32.3 compared to Q3, which was literally a 1:29.7. So if you look at that lap time, it's literally around about 2.7, maybe 2.6. Yeah, 2.4 seconds between literally Verstappen's pole lap and Alonso's, fastest lap in practice 3. But also, if you look as well, Alonso started the race in 5th place, 1:33, compared to what he did at 1:32.3. So pretty much in the difference between practice and qualifying is that Alonso literally was quicker by literally 2 seconds, and obviously track evolution and obviously the previous qualifying sessions had already taken place. But the fact that Fernando Alonso didn't start at least third after literally getting a P1, and literally a P2 in practice, that just pretty much tells you everything that you need to know about how quick the Red Bulls are and where Aston Martin really are this season. And to be honest, the fact that Alonso literally finished third in this race with Sainz, Hamilton and Stroll in 6th place. And yes, you will say, well, yeah, pretty much Leclerc retired with that reliability issue, which we'll talk about. And the only cars that really, beat Alonso was the 2 Red Bulls. I think that has really set the tone this season as far as, can anyone stop the Red Bulls? And the answer is no. And it's not really about, can the Red Bulls be stopped? It's about who's going to get that 2nd place. Now, as far as Ferrari and Mercedes are concerned, I think the worst thing that could have happened to them this season is not really the increase in pace of the Red Bulls, but it's the inclusion of Aston Martin. Because if you look at qualifying, literally, it's a Ferrari 3-4. It's literally Leclerc and Sainz. And when you watch qualifying, Leclerc didn't even go out for one last run because they wanted to save one set of soft tyres, which, to be honest, I don't really understand that, considering the fact that literally the gap between Verstappen's fast lap and Perez was literally, just over a tenth, and then literally the gap between Verstappen and Leclerc was just under 3 tenths. So I don't understand why Ferrari didn't send Charles Leclerc out in qualifying to complete his last run, but the fact that Aston Martin were pretty much in the top 6 after the race was over in Bahrain, with Fernando Alonso in P3 and Stroll in P6, and not just that, Alonso was actually making, decent moves. He made one move on Hamilton where he literally switched on the inside in 10-8 or 9, the double left-hander, and then obviously Stroll had that battle with literally Russell, and also Bottas as well. I honestly believe that Mercedes have lost some pace, even though they've gained, more pace than last year. I think they have certainly lost pace to Red Bull, and I think they've also lost pace to, as well, literally, obviously, Aston Martin, and maybe even for Romeo as well, because also Bottas was also battling with them as well. But to me, if I'm Toto Wolff, I'm really getting petrified and nervous with Aston Martin because, just looking at, obviously coming out to testing, we knew they were going to be quick, and entering, the practice sessions and when they did their race pace, they had the second best race pace compared to literally Red Bull. So I think they literally knew that, Aston Martin were going to be quicker than them, and literally for the first time since probably 2012, 2011, Mercedes are pretty much the fourth best team. But with this Red Bull 1-2, and plus with also the elimination of Charles Leclerc due to the reliability issues, plus with also the rise of Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso, who is by the way going to be the star of this season with Aston Martin, and the fact that he was literally picking fights with, Russell, Hamilton, he overtook Carlos Sainz in the race to get a podium. To me, because of these factors, Max Verstappen will literally dominate 2023. He will literally take over this season. As far as Sergio Perez is concerned, I don't think Perez is going to do much this season. The fact that he literally finished 12 seconds behind Verstappen, and I think they were on the same strategy, as far as, literally 2 softs and a hard, compared to everyone else, what everyone else was doing. Yeah, I think it's clear. Red Bull do have the quickest car. Verstappen is driving in a world of his own, and unless there can be a solid second team, if it be Ferrari, Aston Martin or Mercedes, I do believe it might be Ferrari, because I don't think Alonso would have probably overtook Charles Leclerc to get that podium, because of obviously he DNF'd, of course. But in my opinion, unless one of those 3 teams, Aston Martin, Ferrari or Mercedes, can get this shit together and try and, build a package that can literally leap ahead of the other teams and close the gap to Red Bull, I don't see how any other team can stop Red Bull and, their course towards this championship this season. This is already the first race of 23. And yeah, they've already secured a 1-2. They've literally finished 15 seconds. 15 seconds ahead. I mean, what was the gap to Verstappen to Alonso? So 11 seconds, that's like 40 seconds. 40 seconds Verstappen to Alonso by the end of the race. So, in my opinion, I think Red Bull's hand on the championship will be pretty much secured by literally midway point, because, there's not really a second team that will be there and fight them. They're going to be fighting with themselves. Aston Martin, Ferrari, Mercedes, they're going to be more busy fighting with themselves than try and take the fight to Red Bull. But I think the proper answers as far as how dominant Red Bull are and Aston Martin's true pace, I think that will all be revealed at Saudi, because Saudi is a complete different track, more high-speed corners, and it's just a complete different, car configuration compared to Bahrain. But to end this video, the way I see the 2023 season is this. With Ferrari, I think they've slightly gained pace, but once again with, strategic, strategies, and also just reliability, they're not going to be a factor towards Red Bull this season. Mercedes have lost pace to the point where Aston Martin have surprisingly jumped to the 3rd best team, and now they're too busy fighting with Aston Martin than trying to catch up to Red Bull, to the point where they're literally going to ditch their zero side pod concept for Baku. So literally Mercedes' first quarter of the season, that's gone, and I'm not expecting 6/10 of an upgrade to come anywhere soon. So Mercedes is gone, and as far as Aston Martin, I don't think they have what it takes to not only keep up with the development and be ahead of Ferrari and Mercedes, but to also try and close the gap to Red Bull, and not just close the gap, but try and fight Red Bull in a championship season over 23 races. Yeah, I don't think Aston Martin have what it takes as well. To me, all signs this season scream towards Verstappen three-peating and also Red Bull dominating the Constructors' Championship, and until another team gets this shit together as far as the package and upgrades are concerned, the Max Verstappen dominance and the Max Verstappen takeover in 2023 has begun. Thanks for watching, make sure to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.